In this video, I will show how to we use the SQLite in Flutter. I will show step by step how to add dependency, create data model, and how to get, update and delete the data in SQLite. First we add the dependency in the pubspec.yml. We will be add two dependency. One is SQLite and second is the path. And the second dependency is the path. The SQLite package provide the classes and a function to interact with SQLite database, and the path package provide function to define the location for storing the database on disk. After adding this dependency, we have to be called pubget. In next step, we will define the data model. In data package, I will create the feature list data model. Features list. Create class. In this data model, I will create three field: ID, title, string, description. Let's create the constructor for this class. This dot id required, this dot title required, this dot description. Okay. For supporting function, let's create the supporting function to create a map object for this class. In this map, I will not edit the ID column. In this class, I have also added the table name and create query for this feature list table. Let's get a string table name equal to features list. And static string create query for this class. auto increment. Title, text, this query I will use when I have created the database object and where we have to be call this query. Now we open the database. Let's create the function create database in the main function. You should be open the database in the main method. And that method should be async. In first line, we have to call widget dot flutter binding dot and ensure initialization and create the database by open database method. The first argument it take the path. We will use the join method. Use await get database path, database file name not list. The second argument in open database is let's import the join. The second argument in the open database is the version. Put the number 1. There is another argument is on create. It is a function, and that function is provide the DB database and the version. Using the DB, you can call the create table function. I have already create table query in the feature list data model. Let's run this create table query. db.execute feature list dot create query. Now by this method it will open the database with the name with not list version 1. In first time it will create the onCreate method and create the table for you. That method is provide the future of the database. I will create the future. I will be use this variable in the several widget to insert and update the records. In this example, I have created 3 pages: home page, create list page and update list page. In home page, I will be list all the items which I have insert in the database. In a create list page, I will insert the data. In update list page, I will update the data. In 3 widgets, I will pass this database for future use. Let's add parameter. Final keyword. Similarly, I will add this in my 2 pages. Create list page. Import and update list page. Now I will pass this database object in these widgets. Remove this const. Now first we will be insert the data in the database by the create list page. In next step we will call the insert query. The create list page has 2 text fields, enter title and enter description. We have using the text edit controller for save this text field value, and on submit button right now we have put the validation to check if this text is empty. Then we have show the snack bar by scroll font manager, and the on press method will be called from here. Save record. Now let's add the logic for the insert the data in DB. We have already passed the database object from the main dot. Let's using this we will insert the data. First of all, we get the fetch the database object using the await and visit database. Now call the insert query, insert command db.insert. First is table name, feature list.table name. We have already defined this table name in data model. Second value is the column name and its value. Plus feature list. Create the feature list object. It will take the ID, title and description, because we just insert the new value, so we don't have any ID value, so I will put -1. Put the title and the description. In this data model, we have created the method to map method. It will create the mapping for this title and title, description and description. That method will be insert the data in the database. db.insert have another argument is the conflict algorithm. The conflict algorithm I put the replace. If there any such conflict in this data, then it will be replace the data. After the insert the data, I will clean the text field by using the edit controller. Now after this I will show the snack bar and toast a message on the screen. Data saved. Now you can add more. Let's run this code on iOS. First item, first description, data saved. Now you can add more. In next step we will fetch all the record and put it here and list out all these items. Homepage is created with the list view.builder. That list view builder is created with the feature list. Right now feature list is empty because we have not fetched any item from the DB. And in the list tile, we have show the title and subtitle. In this tile there is also a clear button that on pressed we have not done put any code here right now, and on tap it is also the empty. Now fetch the record. First create the method fetch features list item. This method I am calling in state method, so it will be calls once a time when app is running. That method should be async. Let's get the DB object by calling the await widget.database. db.query and put the table name. Before this query we have to call the await. It give the mapping data, so let's store this value in variable list, and it will give the map object. Now iterate this list object and create the list. We go the list dot generate. It is take the first argument length, second about the index, let's create the feature list object. We will first take the item ID to maps, index, and the column name ID. Second is the title. It will generate the list. After generate the list, we have to update the list with in feature list. So it will update the list viewer builder and it will update the UI. For this, we have to be call the set state. In the set state, first of all, we have to be clear the feature list. Then we have to add new list by call the add all method. After calling the set state, it will send the notification, the visit, and it will update the UI and recreate the build method, and it will update the list. In list style, there is a clear button. On the clear button, we will delete this item, the data which we have entered. Let's call the delete query. Third, we will pass the feature list object. Let's create the method. That method should be a sync function. Get the DB object by calling the await on visit dot database. Now call the delete function, db.delete. The first argument is the table name. Table name is in feature list dot table name. Second argument is the where clause. Put the condition. ID. We will delete on ID basis. Third argument is the where args. In whereas I will pass feature list dot ID. It will delete the object. After delete the object, we have to be refresh the list. Then I will call the fetch feature list item method again. It will fetch again the data and update the list and call the set state. It will notify the widget and update the UI. Let's run this code on iOS. Now you can see that it will fetch the record, and when I have click on the cross button, it will remove the item and refresh the list. When I click on the plus button and add new item and press submit and press go back, it will not update because we have not handled it so right now. So let's put the code for handle back press when user come back to the home screen. We will use the future to update. On second screen, the create list send the boolean value of do update true. Then we have call and call the fetch feature list item. On create list page, when user back press, then we have called the navigator.pop.true. On home page, I will cast that value and call the do update feature list item. Let's run again this code on iOS. Add new item. Now press back button. It will update the list because on the pop we have sent the value true and it will update the UI. Now on click on this list, we will update the feature list data and call the update method on SQLite method. On when user tap on the list tile, it will call the on tap method. In on tap method, I am calling the open edit feature list page. In this method, I am navigate to the update list page and passing the data feature list, and we're waiting for the response from the second screen. If any other changes has done on that page, it will notify that on that page and it will refresh the list like on create list page. In update list page, its UI looks like the create list, and its on press button I have called the db.update method. It will first argument take the table name. In the second, I have created the object of this feature list and call the toMap method and put the where clause upon the id column and send the where arguments. In this where argument, I pass the id of this record which I have to be update, and after it will success the update method, I have clear the text and edit value and show the toast data update and call the navigator.pop with the true. So home page I will update the list. Let's call this code. Let's run this code in the iOS. Let's update the record. And go to submit. Data updated. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe the channel.